So I'm going to make this part today. Actually, he's in there this way. So I have a flat there, a slot there. I'm going to try and do it without coolant. See how this goes. Chip breakers are working awesome. When you end up with a little bunch of pen springs like that, that's a good thing. Otherwise, they can be problematic. Chips can fall up and be around a tool, and you got to stop the machine to get the chips off. But when they're small like this and evacuate well, it's an easy peasy deal. So it's kind of weird when this thing does milling like this, instead of just milling across the slot. It always tries to keep the most rigidity in the machine, so it stops in the middle and then rotates the stock and it comes back towards support again versus getting away from it. So it's kind of a bizarre thing, but that's what it does. So it's smart, but now I'm going to deburr that slot. And it has to kind of unwind all the times that it wound up. So there's a burr, and it does that same thing again. It doesn't know any better. It's just going to always try and keep that rigidity in the machine. That's just making a little kiss in the end so my tail stock will go in. I'm going to pull some more stock out. So normally this is done with coolant and the door is shut, so you can't see this. Now the tail stock is going to come up automatically and kind of into that divot there you can see in the end. And that'll give the stock support there. So now it's going to cut a little groove. We'll have to see how this works without coolant. Typically grooves don't like running without coolant, but seems to be doing pretty good. And I'm just plunging a little material in there so I can get my normal cutter in there to do the turning. So the material is 1 inch in diameter. And I'm going to come take just about all of it. And I got to get down to a 1/2 inch. So it's just beautiful when the chips come off like that. They're not stringing or anything. That's how they should come off. You can order a chip breaker for just about anything that you do, as far as depth of cut and feed rate. But sometimes, you know, you get so much inventory, you try and get by with what you got. So you can see it making those little springs. Now it's going to go and do that back part that it couldn't do before because of the geometry. And this surface finish suffers a little bit because of no coolant. So now I got to mill that flat on there. It takes a little bit for the machine to prepare for that operation. So this is an entryway, kind of zigs back and forth. Just kind of wipe the chip out of the center. And I come back to get that ramp out of there. Now it's going to deburr what I just did. The shutter speed, that's funny, is matching up to the flat. So now I'm going to deburr that slot. So if it's done right, there should be no handlers afterwards. Now I'm going to cut it off. Once again, it doesn't like doing it without coolant. Not doing too bad of a job, I guess. Now the coolant, or the tail stock, is going to go away to allow the part to drop. I normally have it in the part sketcher, but pretty hard to shoot a video of that part sketcher's gone. So there it is on the ground. Now it's going to start all over again. And go back to facing its original turn. I'm going to pause the program here so I can stop shooting. So I thought I'd give you a little look at the controller and what the numbers look like that actually control the functions for this part. The slot on the end of that head, that's what it's cutting now. I know it's just a bunch of numbers, but that's what controls every function in there. And all this code has to be written in order to control those functions in order to make that part. So that's the great thing about CNC machines is you've got a computer doing it, and once you get it, you know, it becomes a very repeatable process. The other thing about CNCs, they run ball screws, which run no backlash in them, which make them super, super accurate. It's just technical stuff, I guess. But this gives you some monitoring on the machine too. Tells you spindle load. There's nothing on it now because it's not doing anything on the spindle. It's going to do that little center drill to mark for that tailstock, but rarely registers at all. Tells you the RPMs as well. Then it gives you your feed rates, what my cycle times are, where I'm at in this cycle. Then it tells you all the positions under G54, where the machine's at. So when you're initially setting it up, these numbers all mean something to you. Otherwise it's just a bunch of gobbledygook. But I thought you might get a kick out of taking a look at both the part being made and the numbers that it takes to create that. Now I do have software that writes a lot of this, so I can do just a simulation in my computer, and once it's all done the way I want it to, it'll spit this code out. This is all written in long form. A lot of code, if your handwriting, can be done in kind of can cycles, they call it, so it doesn't nearly get this long. Some programs I do are thousands of lines long, so you can imagine the work it would take to sit down and write all those dimensions. So there is a shorter way if you're going to have to handwrite it. So thought I'd just add it.